Not trying to tell us what a male and a female is. There is enough variance there to suggest that we don't really know.
No, Alex, what you've done there, twice I've asked you a question. Like, let's be fair to each other. Please.
My answer is I don't know.
Alex, please. Alex.
Well, you know.
Listen to me. You've asked me about 5 or 6 questions, yeah? And I've answered them very directly. Yeah, no problem. Now I'm asking you just 1 or 2, and what I want from you is you to really consider what you're saying. The first thing you said was that I don't feel exactly words. I don't feel comfortable with this. What that constitutes in philosophy is exactly an aesthetic value judgment. So in other words, because you see something and it's distasteful for you, wait, hold on please, that you're now willing to sideline it or invalidate it. Okay. Now, this is fallacious reasoning. What I'm asking you is, have you got any, wait, hold on, before you continue, because you have to allow one question to be asked, then you can answer it. What I'm asking you is there any way you can, using your reasoning, show us how the precepts, the concepts, the descriptions of heaven as per the Quranic narrative is logically invalid? Can you do it?
Well, I have a problem.
Can you do it first?
The fact that I should, when it suits you, or when it...
Can you do that? Can you do
let me finish. In certain circumstances, I should recognize my moral, ethical qualities, and then in some instances I should completely ignore them because the scripture is, you know, what we don't, and we don't have the capacity to actually appreciate it. So we have to complete logic to the point that
you haven't answered my question.
So going back to what you say, I'll give you an example. I'll give you a very simple example. I'll give you a very simple example. And you said yourself, we're going to be tweaked as we enter heaven to accept what it is for what it is.
Alex, I don't know what you're saying.
So when we go to heaven, when we have these like 70 virgins,
72 according to the hadith in Timothy, which some muhaddithin have said is weak, but majority say strong. Go ahead.
You said they have soul. You said they are as like us as we are, but they don't have a free will except us.
No, I didn't say this.
Okay, let me ask you another thing.
No, hold on.
Let me ask you another thing.
No, because you just said something I didn't say.
Okay, that's not what you said. That's fine.
Yeah.
Let's say I go to heaven, and another female, Muslim female, goes to heaven.
Yeah.
Is she going to be one of those 72?
No.
Why is there this?
Because no. No, hold on. That's different. Hold on. You asked a question.
Okay, go.
If you want to ask a question, you have to wait for the response. The Hurul Ain described in the Quran, which are the virgins or whatever you want to call them, really, it's women. And the discussion's always been about women. But let me tell you something you didn't know. Let me tell you, I'm pretty sure you don't know this.
Yeah, what do women get in heaven?
Let me tell you something interesting.
Why you know everything?
Pardon?
Why you know everything?
I don't know everything. Do you know, let me ask you a question, because here you've talked about Hurul Ain, as the Quran says, but what you haven't talked about is Waghilman. The Quran also talks about servant boys that will be created for the pleasure of women and men. Now, what you've done is you've ignored that strategically, either out of ignorance or out of
there'll be a voice.
No problem. Now I'm telling you.
There'll be a voice for pleasure.
If the question is if your question was, why is it the case that men have servitude of a new creation of women, that are designed explicitly and exclusively for them, then the answer is that's not the case, because actually women and men also get these ghilman, who are servant boys, who will serve them in a similar capacity as with the hur, the men. So the point here is actually based on ignorant premise. Taking a step back from the so-called equality discussion that you've tried to put forward.
So even in heaven there will continue to remain differences and not this kind of perfection where we are all the same. There's going to be females and males. We're going to have these differences, right? We can continue to have free will.
There will be differences, yes.
So if these differences continue to exist, surely at some point there's going to be a conflict.
Alex, listen to me carefully. Listen to me carefully.
There's no conflict in heaven, mate.
Yeah, thank you.
Isn't there? It doesn't happen.
Exactly.
No one argues. They argue in speaker's corner. That's it.
Alex, listen to me carefully. Why is there? How do you know? Here's my question. How do you know that such a concept as conflict exists?
In heaven?
Here.
Talk about.
We saw it on your video.
No, hold on. One person at a time.
How do I know? I'll give you an example, right? You know, men. When it comes to like females, they compete. When it comes to resources, jobs, they compete.
Okay.
There is only one for one, unless
how do you define conflict?
well, there is like a, you know, a friction where you get to a point where there is a certain resource, like a bit of land. You want to protect your family.
Disagreement.
There's a tree with apples.
No problem.
There is so it does come to resources. Yeah?
Okay.
However,
not always. About ideas.
In some cases, it could be an abstract idea. It could be like a philosophy. It could be a conflict in ideology.
Do you know, Plato, he was the first major philosopher that I know of that he referred to a concept of universals. Universals. Now, what are universals? Universals are usually, in language, they're abstract nouns and or any noun with a common noun, yeah? Now let me tell you what I mean by that. If I say white, what is white is something which shares a common characteristic, isn't it? So for example, if I grab a pearl and put it into my hand and I ask you to describe the color of the pearl, you'll say it's a white pearl. Likewise, if I point to a cloud and it's not necessarily a very heavy cloud, and I ask you to describe the color of that cloud, you'll say it's white. Thus, the pearl and the cloud have something in common. This is what Plato referred to as universals. We know, I asked you about what is conflict. You said conflict is where you have disagreement, whether it be on resources or abstract ideas, etc. Why? Because you have been able to identify a common characteristic between different things, entities which exist in isolation. And you've been able to call that thing, which is a universal,
yes,
conflict, which is in English language a common noun. Now let me tell you something, educate you something. Did you know that Plato, the same philosopher that really understood this idea of universals, which he referred to as ideals, or he made the land or mode of forms, he also outlined the fact that those universals are in fact metaphysical in nature. Wait a minute, what do you mean by that?
What do you mean by that?
I'll tell him.
Sorry, yeah.
I have to tell the guy what I mean by that. I have to.
See, I ask him both questions.
I'll tell you what I mean by that. Let me tell you what I mean by that. If it's metaphysical in nature, it does not exist in the real world. Thus, white or triangle or whatever it is, an idea, that does not exist tangibly in the real world. Thus, if I were to ask an empiricist to tell me or to show me white, all they could do is show me multiple things tangibly which share the same characteristic of the color white. Thus the example I aforementioned. Now, why is it ironic that you have here come forward and tell me that, look, conflict doesn't exist in heaven? It's because you've extrapolated a concept of conflict as per the universe in which you live in and the experiences in which you had and the commonalities or the thread you've been able to put with all the things which you consider as conflict, and you've superimposed that on another metaphysical thing which doesn't...
No. Why should we, when it comes to your heaven, it's so extremely exaggerated to be...
Are you understanding?
When it's about sex,
so the point is,
drinks,
when you're
when
using...
it comes to a conflict, suddenly we have to...
what I'm saying, when we use common nouns, this is what Ibn Abbas said. Ibn Abbas said, the only thing which is similar between that which is in heaven and that which is in this world is the name. Therefore, when you bring a concept like conflict, which is, as we said, a universal, and you try and superimpose it on heaven, which is a metaphysical concept, construct, which no one has seen except for, we say, the prophets, from Muhammad in particular, etc., then what you're doing is, you're applying a fallacy of some sort, because really and truly...
It's a fallacy, man.
It's of course a fallacy.
Contradicting yourself. When it comes to our motivations for going to heaven, all the benefits or whatever you get in heaven is so earthly and it's so like consistent with what makes us happy. Right?
As I said to you before,
sex and money and drinks
so
and favors,
what?
Right? But,
So what?
Yeah, so what?
So what?
Right, let's say so what. It doesn't matter. But
so how does that invalidate
when it comes to the fact that we may have some idea of a conflict, you say no. That's just some sort of
I'm telling you, the idea of conflict, you've extrapolated from the world.
I'm saying if we continue to have free will, and as long as
Alex,
you're not the only...
I don't think you understand it. I want to try and break it down. It's my fault that you don't understand. It's not your fault. Our ideas that we understand. If I say the word love, yeah? Give me any abstract noun. Give me any abstract noun. Hate, love. Give me another abstract noun. Anything you like, yeah? Disagreement, happiness, whatever. Okay. All of that which we can understand, all of that which these words can necessarily denote or connote, must explicitly relate to my experience or your experience. Yes or no? Okay. The Prophet told us explicitly that heaven, ما خطر على قلب بشر. No one has experience of this place. Now, there are exceptions, like we said, Muhammad, etc. But generally, no one has experience. Now, the point is, if you haven't got experience of heaven, to speculate about the minutiae of the what happens, the details, is neither here nor there. It doesn't mean anything for me. Do you understand what I'm saying?
So if you're saying
my idea of desire will be different.
Okay, therefore, we can conclude the fact that we are incapable of having any understanding of heaven.
No, I didn't say any understanding. See, that's a straw man.
When you look into it, that's what it comes to. Because,
Alex, what I'm saying is,
we first begin with the premise that actually heaven is cool. You can have all these pleasures, and then suddenly it seems all earthly pleasures. But then you take it further that we actually don't know. It's so complicated.
It's not. I didn't say it's complicated. Look,
but it gets to a point that unless you've had experience of it, you cannot say a word.
Yeah, what I'm saying to you, listen, very explicitly what I'm saying, right? I'm explicitly telling you now that heaven is a place where we don't have any direct empirical experience with.
Sure, we have no idea.
Yes.
Of what it is.
Thank you. All right. Perfect. We have no idea. Yet the descriptions are meant to give us as much as is humanly and earth in the dunya way possible understanding of what exists.
Even though when we enter heaven, we're going to get trees.
Let me give you an example. I know I've spoken a lot of philosophical mumbo jumbo. I'm going to try and break it down to the lowest common multiple once again. Listen. If I were to tell you, if you were to meet someone, an Eskimo, I don't know if they exist in real life. They do. Okay. If I were to meet an Eskimo who's forever lived in an environment of snow, never had a television set, and always lived in an igloo. I've never seen an igloo. And then I started to describe to the Eskimo, to the best of my possible ability, what sand is. I say, listen, I have language, he has language. I say, listen, sand is like snow, but actually it's a bit more grainy, And I start trying to use as much hyperbole, as much adjectives, etc. as possible to explain what sand is. We cannot assume safely that Eskimo is going to ever understand the experience of holding sand in his hand. Now, the same thing applies now. The Quran, it does the best job in describing, in the only way it can, to people that have had certain experiences of the world, what kind of pleasure they will get in heaven. And it does so by showing all of, frankly, what's the most pleasurable?
There is small print. There is small print that says, by the way, these are just kind of like analogies because
I didn't say they're metaphors. No, I didn't say this. I said they are real.
What you tell me that the Quran is metaphorically.
I'm not saying it's metaphorical.
It's either going to be explicitly what it says, or it's going to be something else that you might be right now say something else.
I'm saying it's real, but you can never comprehend it. Like Allah, He's real, but you can never. لا تدركه الأبصار وهو يدرك الأبصار. The Quran says that. Tell the scientist that when he's now doing quantum mechanics. No, it's not far-fetched. The only reason why you consider it far-fetched, is because when I use the word science, it's your God coming out now, so you have to defend him. If that's the case, the same fallacy you're committing by saying because we don't understand something, it's not true, it's invalid, or it's illogical. It doesn't exist.
Had this opportunity to make it clear that actually, by the way, no disclaimer here, it's a bit more than that than what you think. It requires someone like you to come forward and try to say, actually, Ali, you don't understand this, it's more than that.
So what's the problem? The Prophet told us that.
No, but it's your interpretation.
No, the Prophet said, ما خطر علقة. What does it say? Have you read the scriptures? Okay, no, but it says in the Quran. It says in the Quran. It says متشابه وغير متشابه مشتبها وغير متشابه. It says that some things are going to be similar to what you've experienced, and some things are going to be completely dissimilar. That's Quran. Surah Al-An'am or Al-A'raf, chapter 6 or chapter 7. No, man, we believe in a realm which is above and beyond the world of the realm. Heaven for us denotes a place which is an after death experience. So he's not in heaven from our perspective. He's in the world.
I think you also need to take into account the alternative to heaven, according to Islam. Because you either have heaven, which is a really good place,
have hell.
or you have hell, which is a really bad
place.
And you don't want to be in hell, you want to be in heaven.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But how do you not?
Yeah, that's a value judgment. What you haven't done, Alex. Thank you, Alex. What you have not done. It's no. You can't say you haven't got a right to say it's inconsistent. You can say I'm not comfortable with it, which is what you said before. No problem. You can be not comfortable with something, which is true. You can be deeply uncomfortable with the fact that 1 + 1 + 1 = 3 and not 1 as a Christian. But it's true. Now the point I'm making to you, well, it's not always. Football team. That's not how we find out truth. By your company.
Northern Ireland, Belfast.
Okay, so why is it? What you have? Look, this is what we're talking about now. You can look. What you're doing here is fine. No, what you have a right to say is I don't feel comfortable. I don't like it. No problem. That's not. That's a subjective value judgment. You're entitled to it. I would say it's neither here nor there. Everyone can be. I don't like drink. I don't like certain drinks. No problem.
Unless you're big, you're gonna need to exercise your free will or your so at some point you can actually think about it and actually think, this makes sense to me. That's why I'm a Muslim.
No, but what your barometer for sense has not become a logical one. It's become a subjective value judgment on aesthetics and feelings and how you feel comfortable.
You can't have free will. Your free will, you have to exercise your free will based on.
No, but you're not understanding what I'm saying. You don't make a value judgment on truth using how comfortable you feel with something. If you feel uncomfortable with the truth.
It's a bad word. But we are challenging.
The Quran even says, وَعَسَىٰ أَن تَكْرَهُوا شَيْئًا وَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. You could hate something which is good for you.
Why are you a Muslim?
Why am I Muslim? Yeah, I like that. Maybe someone could get me a coffee before I can start this next one.
No, it's very simple. You didn't just...
The thesis of Islam is most compelling to me from a logical perspective.
Logical.
Yeah, rationally.
So all these words make sense.
And also because I believe I'm predisposed to believing in God.
Oh, you're predisposed. So you're saying that some may not have it.
No, everyone has this.
Everyone has it. To God. But in your case, it's Islam, right? So
look, Islam is submission to God.
Yeah, fine. And hence, well, the fact that we've got different religions, everyone has their own kind of, logical reasoning or what makes them comfortable, right? Ultimately,
who cares about what makes us comfortable?
No, but the fact is that you chose to do that, not just because of some random event. You're actually
okay, but Alex,
I don't believe this.
With respect to you, great respect. I know you, I like you, right? But what I was going to say to you is that you have not, unfortunately, been able to. You have not been able to put forward a consistent, logical case against any of the precepts. Yeah, you don't need to.
I was intrigued and I was more than happy to be convinced. I'm still left with what you wanted.
No, but the reason why, you have to explain, it's because of your desires. Literally. Because of what makes you comfortable. Yes.
When I look around, my desires are actually look as someone.
It's exactly because, according to your own admission, it's because of your desires.
It's very
Your design. And you know what's ironic? Alex, what makes you comfortable in this life?
It's not about confidence.
No, I'm asking you a person.
It's not about confidence, it's about the truth. Ultimately...
Okay, now you're changing your tone.
What do you mean tone?
Before you were saying this about how it comes.
You said yourself, when you read the text, when you read the scripture, you made some reasonable, logical reasoning. Those are the words you used.
Yeah, I didn't say
and now you're telling me, actually, I should ignore. How do you come to a reasonable judgment? There needs to be some way, in agreement with your understanding, right? And if I can say, hey, that makes me comfortable, you can't tell me, oh, you have to ignore this comfort.
Let me ask you a question. What makes you comfortable in life?
It's not about comfortable, dude.
No, I want to know.
It's about
what would you like to do?
The truth. It's about the truth.
Alex, do you know okay, fine, no problem.
For you, for others, it's about having virgins or sexual or some pleasure or conforming to a God that looks after them, right?
Let me ask you a question. Bro, let's not pretend to be all righteous here.
But then don't ask me.
No. You're all over the place. Literally. You're literally all over the place. I've never spoken to someone very recently that's all over the place like this.
I'm all over the place.
Okay, but let me tell you something.
Maybe I'm crazy.
Yours.
Hey, aren't there many of us all over the place? We're going to end up in...
All right.
No, right.
Okay. Let me finish this with you, right? Why I say you're all over the place. Clearly, in the beginning you said, I'm not comfortable. That's your reasoning. Your reasoning for not accepting heaven and hell, as per the Islamic scriptures, you said, I'm not comfortable with it. Yeah, fine. You can have your problems with it. You can have your aesthetic value judgment. But I said to you before, your degree of comfortability does not necessitate falsity. It doesn't show that something is true or wrong. You said, I don't care, but that's how I feel. All right, no problem. We take a step back.
My response to that is, when it suits you, in the virtues of, giving to charity and everything else, those reasoning of what's good and bad matter. But when it comes to the fact that in heaven, certain values, like having sex with somebody and then they don't have free will, I should ignore that. Currently, with the values that you as a Muslim
I told you it's going to be different.
Okay, let's break it down. Make it simple. On Earth today,
we've been through this, man. We've been through this.
Exploitation of others, they don't have free will matter.
Alex, we've been through
but suddenly in heaven, it doesn't matter. So that's a
No, I didn't. That's not what. Look, Alex, please. You seem not to comprehend.
Am I?
No. You're not making sense. Because I said to you before that.
Why do you not have a scientific wife today?
I can only have 4.
Because of the scripture, right?
That's my maximum, man. But according to the law, you can only have 1 thing. Yeah. Go ahead. No, look.
I'm guessing that women want to have 74 wives.
I didn't say anything. What are you talking about?
Because when I asked,
this guy's going from animals to boys. You're talking about animals. And now you're talking about animals.
when I asked you that men get 72 virgins, what do women get? They get a bunch of boys?
I didn't say they get a bunch of boys.
What do they get?
Okay, Alex, listen to me. Look at me. It's on the cameras. I feel like
the cameras.
No. No problem. What I'm gonna give you a chance to do, forget the cameras. You can recap what was already said. Because sometimes I'm not saying I'm bad at this. I'm bad at giving explanation, right? No problem. But if you listen to what I say twice or 3 times, you won't need me to keep repeating myself. So those issues we've dealt with. What I'm going to say to you is as follows, yeah? Forget about all of this. Forget about how comfortable you feel. Forget about these things. In a nutshell, heaven, according to Muslims, is a place where you get everything you want. And you will not want that which you cannot have as per the morals of Islam. So you can't have sex with animals or children. Done. Hell is where you get an eternal punishment forever. Now, heaven and hell are the recompense, the ultimate recompense of people's having gone through some kind of test in life and then being judged and assessed by the all-knowing, all-wise, which we believe in. That's the thing. Now, we don't know exactly what's in heaven, how it functions. I can't give you details. Right, the Prophet told us that. But we do know some things which potentially we could expect, but it's nothing that we can envisage in a full sense. Make sense?
And it's forever, right?
Exactly.